Alright, so in this video, I'm going to give somewhat of a deck profiling slash card explanation, or card explanation slash deck profiling to how the new cards work and how I'm hoping they kind of go together. They don't really go together in terms of like, they're meant to work that way, but it's more of like, you go to a store, you buy like a basic starter pack of the game, and it's like, all right, these cards kind of do something, so let me just see what they do, and et cetera. So like how the old Yu-Gi-Oh game was before, like everything was like buy 3 decks, and that deck makes like a good deck. But yeah, let me get into it. So for the first cards, we're going to start with the Tamen. That's the colored cards here. And I'm going to start with Dragoness Mermaiden. So Dragoness Mermaiden is a 3-cost creature, meaning that she needs 3 spaces to be summoned and has 3 materials to use for her abilities, 3 resources for abilities, and a range of 3, meaning that she can hit G, B, and A while on the B stance, while on the B or G stance, she can hit G, B, and A. And while in the A stance, she can hit A, B, and B. And now she's a humanoid merfolk. I don't know. For some reason, I can never get the LK to stay. I keep redoing the file, and the file just never seems to keep. So I might have to pay attention to where I save it next time. But it is supposed to be merfolk. And for 3 costs, it's -1 cost, rivals in range for 1 turn. And this card cannot gain cost after using this ability this turn. So basically what she does is she reduces the cost of every creature who she can get within range. So if you try to increase her in range by like just 2, that's the entire board, but even still 3 is a pretty big wide range. As you can see, she can get from here, she can get here, or she can get here. And that reduces the creature's cost by 1, while also, the creature's cost getting reduced because they need to use the ability, or et cetera, et cetera. And it says, this card cannot gain cost after using this ability this turn because you don't want to be able to have this ability be spammed like 2 times over. I am trying so hard to talk over this lawnmower that's driving by. All right. So basically, it's just a way to not have it be spammed. So it's like, okay, -1 cost, -1 cost, -1 cost, -1 cost, and everything at 0. So you can increase her ability by, or increase her cost by 2, so that she could be at 5, then use the ability, and then kind of go off from there. So that's how you would use that card. Torpedo Dolphin is a cost 2 creature with range 2. It is a Beast Marine, and at 2 costs, you can draw 2 cost 2 or lower aqueous allies from the Fell Zone. So any cards that get sent to the Fell Zone, like Torpedo Shark or Graceful Mermaid, and they go to the Fell Zone, you can draw them back by using Torpedo Dolphin's cost effect. And range 2 means it can hit what's in front of it. So if it was at A or B, or A or B, or if it was in B, it'd be B or G, or B or A. That's how that works. Templeback Sank Turtle is a cost 3 creature with a range of 2 and is a Beast Marine as well. For 2 costs, you can guard 2 an ally until this turn. So guard 2, or the word guard, is a keyword that is used to say that, hey, this creature cannot be destroyed unless you attack it this many times. So it would take, instead of 1 hit, it would take 2 hits in order to destroy a specific creature, even if that creature is weaker than the attacking monster, or the attacking rifle. So it's a good defense card. Torpedo Shark is a cost 2 creature with a range of 2. It is a Beast Marine, and it has a 2 cost that says reduce the cost of a rival in range by 2. So if you were to find a way to increase this creature's range, which is possible with some of the cards down here, like Cost of Sight, no, Sight of Cost, there you go, then you could increase its range and have its range, and have that range be how you reduce another creature's ability. So you could use that in tandem with Dragoness Mermaiden to make them even weaker than before. Oh yeah, this reduces the range and this reduces the power. Okay. So yeah, you could use those in tandem in order to like really weaken up your creature, opponent's creature for like that turn. Oh, that's pretty much it. And then you just use that to your advantage to like beat over your opponent's monsters and whatnot. Graceful Mermaiden is a cost 2 creature, a range 2 humanoid merfolk, and it has a 2 cost ability where you can give a cost to another active aqueous ally. Like I said before, this was to keep it, so like in the last version of TamenTCG, Graceful Mermaiden was used in order to make Dragoness Mermaiden more powerful. She would search the gear deck for like her trident, and could equip that trident to Dragoness Mermaiden, and Dragoness Mermaiden would be like a double attacker. And that's, so I wanted to kind of keep that here as well. So it's 1 extra cost and she becomes a 4 instead of a 3. And if you were to have another one on the board, then she could be a 5 instead of a 4. So that's how that would work. So they still pretty much work great with each other, or you can use that for any of the other Aqueous Tamen in here. Infernus, and now we're moving on to the Infernus. So Infernus Draco is a cost 4 creature. Beast Dragon with a 2 cost that makes it striker 2. So he still keeps the double striker thing just to see if it works. Because if it does, then I will be putting it on a lot more creatures. And it basically means this Tommen can strike twice. So this is like the antithesis to Jumpback Sand Turtle's Guard 2. So he would be by using 2 costs, he could destroy a creature by attacking it twice. But he would still have to have the cost of you still have to have his cost be pretty high to do it, which again, there's cards that allow for that to happen, like Power Surge. Volcanic Golem has a range of 2 as a humanoid golem construct and does not have a cost ability. Oh, he has a cost of 3, but he does not have a cost ability because again, I wanted to try and experiment with things. So his cost is actually to discard 1 card, any card, and get a single gear draw. So you could draw 3 gear instead of 2, or draw 1 extra gear along with your creature and your gear. I'm thinking of some other ways to put it when I get like the stance abilities going, but for now it's like on its own that sounds like a broken thing. And all these abilities can only be used like once per turn. So these are like hard once per turn uses unless you have like multiple cards. 2 cost. Infernus Wyvern is a cost of 3, range of 2, is a beast dragon, and is a 2 cost. For 2 costs, you can put 1 range on this creature. So it puts it at a range of 3, and again, meaning that it can hit what's in front of it, what's to the left and to the right of it, and that goes through the same. If it's in the B stance, what's in front of it, what's to the left and to the right of it, and then if in the G stance, what's in front of it, and then what's to the side of it. So that's pretty good way to keep things keep things in check. Sheer Tan is a cost 2 creature with a range of 2. It is not a humanoid avian. I forgot to take that file off. It is a beast bovid. So I gotta fix that. But it's a beast bovid, and its ability is resting guard 2. So when you tap this creature, I forgot how to tap. There you go. And so when you tap this creature after using an ability or something, then it just becomes like you gotta attack it twice to destroy it. And because, as you've noticed, there is no tap in any of these cards, a creature is tapped after it attacks. So in this version of the game, you can use an ability and attack. But once you attack, that's like, okay, the creature is tapped. So it can't do anything else. So it's good for defense, and it's actually good for just having resource, because it takes 2 hits to attack it. So if you have it at a high cost of power, then it's pretty much just a wall that you can use whenever you need to. So good for stalling, good for cashing up on, you know, strategy. And last but not least, the final Tommen is Fire Sprite at a cost of 1 with a range of 2 and is a humanoid Fey elemental. For 1 cost, you can give 1 cost to another ally. For 1 cost, you can give 1 cost to another active ally in Furnace for this turn. It should also say that for Graceful Mermaiden, so I should put this turn just to specify it only works for that turn. So you can use that for Draco and Furnace, and it would go Infernus Draco, and it would go to 5, and you could still keep Fire Sprite on the board as like just fodder, defensive fodder, because she would be at cost 0, meaning that she wouldn't have to leave the board because she costs absolutely nothing to be summoned. Or you could put it towards literally anyone else, and they can be a little bit higher, and you can like just keep summoning out. Except for with Infernus Draco, you could just keep summoning out and Fire Sprite and then put it on another creature and so on and so forth. So it's like a good way to just beef up your Infernus creatures. Now for the gear. So as I've explained in another video, gear use cost now as well, which is why cost is so important in the game now. And as you can see, some of these are really high because they do really good things, like summon an ally from the Fell Zone. So revitalization pretty much just allows you to get a free monster, any monster you want, out of the Fell Zone. This might be a monster reborn thing where you can even get one from your opponent's your opponent's Fell Zone. So let this be the official saying that for right now, yeah, this counts for any Fell Zone. Power Search. Oh yeah, and it is a 4 cost, so you would have to have like at least 2 cost 2 creatures on the board, or a cost 3 creature and a cost 1 creature, or you just need to be able to pull out 4 costs from like any creature you have on the board in order to make this card work. And I'll go into another video explaining how these cards work, or yeah, just showing how these cards would work. Power Surge has absolutely no cost because it is a trigger, meaning that you would have to put it on the board face down and then activate it the phase after you set it. and it just increased the cost of a Tamen by up to 3. And that goes for any Tamen. So you could target one of your Tamen, you could target one of your opponent's Tamen. If you target one of your opponent's Tamen, you could oversize it and it would have to leave the board because it's just too big, which is a good, which, you know, that's something you might want, that is something you would want to do in a pinch. Or you can just put it to one of your creatures and have your opponent get tripped up and have their creature destroyed and sent to the fell zone, and then use revitalization to get that back, to get it out of there. Power absorb. Power absorb is a cost of 3, and for that you can reduce the cost of a rival by up to 3 and add that cost to an active ally. So basically you're taking out 3 and you're taking out 3, getting in 3, and putting that to any of your monsters. This is preferably for weaker monsters, but it could also be for your allies that you have used the cost of and you just want to get their power back up so that they can also attack. And that's why it's at a cost of 3, because it's a really good card. So it's something you want to like kind of savor up. Switch up. For a cost of 2, you can switch an active ally with a roster ally that is 1 cost higher. So this card is one of those technical cards that is like a little bit complex, but not really. So when you switch an active ally with a roster ally that is 1 cost higher, what that means is that whatever the cost of that ally is at the current time that the card is played, that is the ally that you summon has to be 1 cost higher than that. So let's say let's say you had Dragoness Mermaid. You use this, and use this, and Dragoness Mermaid goes down from 3 to 1 because this is the cost of 2. Then you would be able to summon Graceful Mermaiden, you'd be able to summon Torpedo Shark, you'd be able to summon Torpedo Dolphin, but you would not be able to summon Templeback Sink Turtle. So, you know, this is a card that you got to play around with in order to make some crazy stuff happen. It sounds like a fun thing to do. Our penalty is I haven't been saying what kind of gear they are. So this is generic, this is trigger, this is a generic, this is a generic, it's also a generic, and it is power penalty. For a cost of 1, rest a Tommen that increased their cost for 1 turn. So you could use this to rest your Sheertan, or you can use this to rest an opponent's Tommen if they've like increased their power to stop them from attacking for a turn. It's basically just a stop attack thing. Equalizer. Equalizer is a trigger card, and basically what it does is it equalizes the 2 attacking creatures. So if your opponent attacks you, you just flip this card up. The cost of the ally becomes the cost of the striking rival, and you destroy each other. Or you could also activate Power Surge and, you know, take out the rival and keep your creature safe. If your creature can reach higher than your rival. Zero Sum is a cost 3 generic gear that reduces the cost of all active Tommen to 0 this turn. I could put it at a cost 4 because I feel like cost 3 might be a little too low for a card that just reduces every single creature's cost power to 0. We'll see how it plays out. It's a good way to summon more creatures for defensive maneuvers, or just to stop your opponent from making any plays and doing all that stuff and whatnot, or just being able to destroy one of your opponent's larger creatures. Because what you could do is play Zero Sum, then activate Power Surge or something like that, and, you know, get moving. Cost of Sight is a cost 2 generic gear. Reduce the range of an ally and add it to their cost. So these are good for creatures with high range. And I think, yeah, limit is 5. So you can go as high as 5 and as low as 1. It's like just take 1 range from Torpedo Dolphin and have it be 3. Take 1 range from Dragoness Mermaid and have it be 4. And I think Dragoness Mermaid has like the highest range out of everyone. So she takes the best use of this card. Cost of Sight. Oh, I just did that. Ultimatum Summon is one of the more powerful. I think it's going to be one of the more powerful cards because basically what it does is it's a generic card, which I'm not sure if it should be, but it's a generic card. Send up to 5 roster allies to the Fell Zone, meaning that you could send, if you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say these are Tom. If you have 5 in here, you could send up to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, any number there. Put them into the Fell Zone. Go to discard file. Reveal, so you would have to show your opponents the card that you pick, and summon an ally from the deck. So it's a search from the deck card with a cost equal to the number of allies sent to the Fell Zone. So if you were to send 4 rivals to the Fell Zone, or 4 allies to the Fell Zone, not rivals, 4 allies to the Fell Zone, you could summon Infernus Draco straight from your deck. Or you could just send two creatures to the fell zone and summon any cost two creatures straight from the deck. So actually, this would be very, very good for something like Torpedo Dolphin, because what you could do is ultimatum summon, take out two creatures from the roster. Those two creatures could be aqueous creatures. Grab Torpedo Dolphin right out of the deck, put it onto the field, use the cost of Torpedo Dolphin, grab the two aqueous creatures from the fell zone, put them onto the board, and you've got yourself three creatures on the board and quite a bit of resource to use. So that card could be a little bit silly. I really want to see how that one works. Sight of Cost is just pretty much the reverse of Cost of Sight. Instead of using your range, you use your cost in order to increase your range. So creatures with high cost can get even higher range, basically. Reduce the cost of an ally and add it to their range. Limit is 5. And then for the last card, it is 2 for 1. It says 0, which it shouldn't say 0, but this was the first card I was working on, so I was like, should things say 0? Should it just be nothing? It's just going to say nothing. Roster 2 cost 1 allies to summon a cost 2 ally from the roster. I feel like this would be a trigger, but at the same time, it could work either way. So basically, what happens is that if you have any cost 1 creatures like Fire Sprite, you could use those to summon like a Sheer Tan or something. And it's generic. It doesn't matter what allies they are. So they could be from one element to another or something like that. But you could also say you got two high power creatures and they somehow go down to 1, and you don't want them to be destroyed during the battle phase. Play this card, put those two in, get one of these guys out, put it on the board, and because you can put it anywhere on the board. You could put it out of the range of your attacker, and you would be safe for like another turn. And that's basically how that would work. I don't. This is a kind of long video. It was like 20 minutes long, so I hope it wasn't too long. But I will do like a demonstration of how some of these cards should work together, and that will be a video for probably another day. I do have like two or three of these that I made, and I kind of did all at once, so now my throat really hurts. But yeah, I feel like this version of TamenTCG should work. It should definitely work. The last version did work to a degree, but when I was redoing it, it was like, oh, this actually feels a lot more simpler while also having a bit of complexity to it. And so it's like it seems like it could be a little bit more fun, and there's less to keep track of. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to try out this new version of TamenTCG, and I'm definitely excited to give some explanations out of how things worked, as well as to how the new rules work for the game. So with that being said, I'm going to give my throat a rest, and I will see you all in the next video.